Welcome back, everybody, to another fan-frickin-tastic episode of Astral.
Stupid.
Well, that was underwhelming, but that's okay.
Just like your face. Your face is underwhelming.
That's what my wife says all the time. Welcome back, everybody. It's been a month. Hard to believe, but it has. You're probably missing our voices and the thoughts and the feelings and the emotions and the whatever else that you want to say we put into these episodes.
Misinterpretations. I mean, it's all good.
Whatever, I would like to take a moment, though, to specifically call out Santosh.
What'd I do?
Completing season 1 of Psychic Sleep Hour with Santosh. And if you all have not checked out Psychic Sleep Hour with Santosh, tell them where they can do so.
SantoshDavid333.com, SantoshDavid.com. You can find me on most of the socials at that handle as well. So I think we were just discussing I'm on the Anchor thing, and so that puts it out on Spotify
everywhere. All
everywhere. See, look how cool it's been good to me.
Now, are you on Threads yet?
I don't even know what that is.
The Threads, the new Instagram, Twitter.
I've not heard of the Threads.
You ain't on Threads yet? Oh man, y'all are missing out. Because everybody hates Twitter now. So Instagram, well, basically Zuckerberg, Facebook created their own Twitter, and it's called Threads. And it's run through Instagram. It's literally almost the same thing, but a lot of people have left Twitter and they're going over to Threads now.
So all the toxic people left Twitter and they're going to Threads. And
the toxic people are the ones that are staying on Twitter because they're the ones that like what Elon's been doing.
Okay, I got you.
So,
how are they doing on the bot verification on Threads? I wonder. How many bots are set up on Threads and publishing?
I don't know, but you sign up through your Instagram account. So.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I'll check it out. What's another social account, right?
Yeah.
Are social accounts today the speakeasies of the 20s?
No, because speakeasies were illegal. You couldn't find them. You had to have pass,
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say speakeasy. It's just the bar of today.
Yeah, the bar. Yeah.
And that millionaire dating app or something, wasn't it like that?
What was it?
Some random memory fragment floated through my face. Sorry.
Like MySpace? Is that what you're thinking of?
No, it wasn't.
I miss MySpace, man. MySpace was awesome. You could play music on there for people when they came to your page. And
who was everybody's bestie? Was it Jeff?
It was
Tom.
Tom.
Yeah, what's Tom doing now? I mean, I wonder.
He's just spending that money that Facebook gave him.
Yeah. He joined Threads recently, and he's going to befriend everybody. So
yeah.
Anyway,
drinking Mothman brand soda. Just to say
nice.
Where'd he go? Make it so. Okay.
Hell yeah.
Generic soda.
My only other ones are Cash Express, and I'm not advertising for them.
Not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor.
All right. So
what's up, Josh?
I come to you guys with. I have 2 topics for today.
2.
The first topic is the idea that humanity is somehow better than every other life form on the planet. This kind of it's almost like an inherited opinion, I think, for the majority of people that somehow humans are a better life form, that animals are here to serve us, or the planet was created for us, or whatever the case may be. But if we want to trash it, it's our thing to trash. That kind of thought mentality. Where do you think that really kind of comes from, or do you think it is legitimate?
Barring the line of sentience being sort of a thing that could go into, I go back and forth because I don't think that we're the first iteration of the human species.
No, I agree there.
So
Same.
seems like we're still trying to get it right. But
and so so talk a little bit of what you meant by the bar of sentience.
it's like if it's a Disney character, will you eat it? If it's had a face in the cartoon, it is now somehow separate than the other animals in some way. Sorry, my brain sort of spilled out on that one. Like, but yeah, that the difference between Goofy and Pluto, like which ones are for eating and which ones are for friending. And that, I know we've done that for a while. So that would have came around what, agricultural days?
Probably. Well, but even there though, within, well, and I don't want to get too far into the religious side of the house, but when you bring it into different religions, right? Different animals are appropriate for eating and others are not. Right, in Judaism,
I won't eat anything with face, with ears, or appeared in a Disney cartoon.
You're a vegan.
Like in
People with standards. I've got standards.
Judaism, you can't eat pigs, but other people can. So I don't, it's just, it's something like that. I also think of that. There's I think for a lot of, at least people who were born into the quote unquote Christian faith. Right, or even if you just ascribe to Genesis in the Bible, if you just follow that, because I think that even covers a lot of Judaism, and maybe portions of Islam. I'm not sure, but the whole idea that God created the heavens and the earth, and then He created man to rule over the lesser creatures. And so I wonder if, for a lot of people, that's where it comes from for them, is that God decreed it that we are to lord anything lesser.
I think you'll find a lot of people on the meat side of things, like veering way to look like that's murder. But I don't feel like those exact same people would say the same thing about insects.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I've gotten into that conversation quite a bit with my wife because, like ethically,
just get rid of the ants, Josh. Damn it.
but like ethically, it bothers me to know how animals are treated in these like big kind of industrial, plant farms or whatever. To the point where like
a ring of hell on our very own plane.
Right. So, I've considered doing vegetarian or lacto-vegetarian or something like that. But for me, what it boils down to is not necessarily that I shouldn't eat meat. It's that the meat that I eat should be ethically sourced. Like, it shouldn't be that chickens are crammed into a small pen, and overfed,
their beaks shaved off a little bit,
right?
So
or whatever the case. Basically, that they're fed. It's like a Matrix situation where they're fed, the remains of the chickens who have died, so that they can be fattened up and be full of protein. So for me, it's an ethical piece is around, not eating meat versus eating meat, because the same argument I think could be made around, well, if you can't eat animals because, they're, meat is murder, do plants? I mean, there are people who would say that they talk to their plants, right?
And yeah, don't they know how to react to things? And again, right. I think that one's like along that line of sentience. Do you believe that it has its own like self-generated intelligence? Right.
Well, and I mean,
I'm stuck because I don't like vegetables. I'm not going to spend the rest of my life eating fruit. And so
nothing but mushrooms and fruit. So that'll be on.
No, I don't eat mushrooms.
Oh, okay.
So. The one thing I hate the most, just a bitch on the side about it, is the yoga community and how everybody's heads are up their ass when it comes to eating, just in general, but specifically to vegetarianism and veganism, and will look down on you as a lesser being for even participating in the eating of those things or allowing it to go on.
Yeah, I mean that seems to be for the folks that I've run into in the vegetarian and vegan space, they just can't wrap their heads around the idea of eating meat. But whenever I pose to them the question, do you have a house plant? And they say, yeah. And I say, when you water that house plant, do you talk to it? Oh yeah, we talk to our plants. Okay, but you're okay with eating that? Well, we don't eat that plant. We don't eat that plant. Well, you should still eat plants. So it's just, it's a little bit of a double-edged sword, I think.
Which
Gotta
have
eat
a
something.
life force to them, right?
Yep.
Plants have an undeniable life force about them. And we're learning to more and more degrees of intelligence. But this is why I just wrap it all the way back to an earlier one. People meet. Just grow some muscle from a volunteer. Don't tell people that it started out as people, and we'll be fine. We'll all be on a higher
people's
level.
is people's and potatoes is potatoes.
And sometimes people's potatoes.
Sometimes people and potatoes.
That froze at a really weird moment for me.
I know. Well, here we got talking about meat, but what we were really talking about was whether or not man is the most important species on the planet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but it makes you wonder because, aliens aren't just abducting humans, right? Cows go missing, horses go missing. I'm sure other animals go missing that we don't even know about.
They do seem to have it in for the cows, especially with the mutilation.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're just messing with us, right? They're just like, they're drunk one night, flying around. What do you want to do? Let's go abduct a cow and steal its anus and its eyeballs, and then just leave it laying on the side of the road somewhere.
Anus and eyeball.
That's a hell of a Saturday night.
I was like, it sounds like a metal band. Anus and eyeballs.
Yeah.
Or an old vaudeville act.
But you make a good point, Steph. And I mean, 3/4 of the earth is covered in water. Are things being abducted out of the ocean, right? Do they take dolphins and squid and octopus and everything else? And we never know about it, right? Do they take whales, so on and so forth?
So long and thanks for all the fish. That's what the dolphins said.
I think you just discovered how octopods actually got here.
Yeah.
They were experiments, undersea experiments.
Like a Island of Dr. Moreau type situation?
Yes, I was about to make bubble noises and say it like as a fish guy, and I'm glad I stopped myself. That's Stefan's job.
But, but it does, kind of make you want, so talking real quick about the sentient piece that you brought up before, I can't remember the philosopher or logic guy who said it, but the I think therefore I am. Was it Nietzsche? I don't know. I'm probably wrong on that. But anyways,
cogito ergo sum.
But
I'll look it up.
So if you flip that around and you say,
it's Descartes.
Descartes. I am, therefore I think. If you kind of flip that logic line a little bit, then I think you could say that you can look at intelligent species like dolphins, octopus, right? They put an octopus in a tank with all kinds of maize and stuff, and there's a jar at the end that's got their food in it, and the octopus will figure out where to go, and then once they get there, they'll figure out how to open the jar to get their food. That implies some sort of intelligence. If that implies intelligence, they think, therefore they are sentient, right?
They've also been caught punching fishes.
Yes.
And I say that not to negate what you just said, but to add on is that we have filmed them just being an absolute prick to others.
Well, and anyone that has pets has seen your dog or your cat make decisions, like sit and think about it,
right, and
decide to do something, whatever that may be, whether, especially a cat, when you tell it not to do something, it looks at you, thinks about it for a second and knocks that glass off anyways.
And the whole idea that, birds aren't smart because they have bird brains, right? Well, but their brain is comparable to the size of their body. So, of course, they have small brains. They have small heads. You wouldn't you think it odd if there was a bird flying around with the brain of a cat, right? It would just be like this big freaking head on top of a little tiny body, which would be funny to.
They're called parrots.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's. Bottom line, I think that and I think we've talked about this before, but the idea that we equate intelligence to like having a written language or speaking or whatever the case may be. But, dolphins talk to each other, and I don't know if octopus talk to each other or not, but they probably have some sort of a flashy color thing on their body is how they communicate or something like that. But bottom line, if you draw the line at what is intelligent, then there are far more species on this planet that are intelligent. So to say that humans are the greatest of all those species, I think is a very egotistical statement. And so then therefore to also say that the planet is ours to do with that we please is a very...
Yeah, I was going to say, that's how you build empires is, a loyal frenzy.
Yep.
So anyways, I think we've beat that dolphin to death. So the second topic that I wanted to ask you about is Richard Doty.
Not the professor in college. Hold on. Sorry, I was having a weird flashback for a moment.
For the people who are listening, don't know who Richard Doty is, I'm going to give a quick synopsis. So he was an Air Force intelligence guy, and his whole job was to lie and give mis or disinformation to people about UFOs when he was in the Air Force. Then he retired, and now he's coming out and saying everything I said while I did that job was actually a lie, and UFOs are all real, and all these things are real, and so on and so forth. I personally have a problem with someone who lied for a living coming out and saying, yep, it's all real, especially when he's talking about programs and things that are still classified. So it would be like he's willing to take the chance with the government to talk about classified programs when people like Grush and Melton, the other guy, what's his name? Something Melton. Anyways, the senator guy or whatever that is, was with Two to the Stars Academy, Lou Elizondo. What?
Mellon? Christopher Mellon?
Christopher Mellon. Yeah, thank you. Lou Elizondo. Others won't even talk about those classified programs because they still understand that they're classified. So I don't know. Just what are your all's thoughts on Richard Doty? I mean, do you feel like he's on the level now? Because he's been given a lot of praise lately about coming forward on things.
Yeah, he's on every damn documentary that's out there right now, and has been for the last couple of years. And I don't know. I'm with you on this. That I can't trust a single word he says, because he could still be doing it.
Right. He could still be spreading.
Because part of his misinformation and disinformation was little bits of truth. Right.
The best lies have a little bit of truth in them.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a couple things that he's come out with that are, I don't think the community knew about. But for the vast majority of the stuff that he gave the thumbs up on, it's things that we already kind of knew or suspected, right? About the, like the second crash at Roswell, people knew about that before he said anything about it. So, I think the only way for me, I would be able to believe anything he has to say at this point would be if some unrelated source were able to corroborate any of the information that he's given. With corroborative information as well as expanding upon what he's been given. But the idea that Rush guy came forward, right, and his whole statement was sanitized by the Pentagon. So the fact that Doty's out there talking about programs that supposedly are still classified, it really makes me think either one of two things. Either A, he's still spreading BS, or B, somehow he's looped in on the program for slow dissemination of information, and so he's allowed to talk about these programs because of that.
You've brushed up against a couple of things that I'd like to get out of my head first. I had to write them down. First, and Stefan can verify, playing Mafia, the game where you find out who's the traitor in the bunch, and he's trying to kill the other people through the game. Yep. That I can tell you for a fact, don't show them how good you are at it in the first round, or they won't let you play for the rest of them. So had that and this, but so I've been really thinking about the Grush part of it, and how you and I had that discussion, Josh, and you were like, well, it's got to be them putting it out and it's all that, and I'm like, yeah, if you notice, what we're waiting for in disclosure terms right now is for them to reinforce the current power structures, that the officials' opinion is now official, that higher ups, that military's first, government second, and that there are, that those things could be scared of disclosure because of the power to upset everything else, but they're not doing it. They are leaking it out in a way that reinforces that keeps the current system in play.
So
that's what I've been thinking.
To kind of, so we're going to spin off into a different topic then. So thinking about disclosure, right? The U.S. government is only going to put all this information out for public consumption if it has something to gain from doing so, right? The U.S. government does, in its current operation, rarely does anything just for the good of doing it. The people who sit in those seats rarely do anything just for the good of doing it. There are a handful, I would say, that probably want that and think that way. But the vast majority of the people in power, it has to be a you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours type situation, right? So what would be the motivation for the government to come forward and say, yep, you know what? You're right. We have been in contact with aliens for 75 years and we've gotten all kinds of tech, and your smartphone that you're using right now, that came from aliens, and Velcro and, whatever else. What would be their motivation to do so? Right?
See, I don't know, because that's talking about, to me, there's this connotation that seems to be of like dumping it all at once. And like I said, what I'm really, or at least what I'm observing now, is the slowness is deliberately to keep the power structures in place, because if we are not the apex predator anymore, that changes a whole lot of social dynamics,
right,
and things like that. And then not to imagine all the religious people are going to lose their damn minds, and what does that mean? Like there's just and that would be fast, but it's like, oh yeah, you caught us, this is there, but they're doing it on their own terms with their chosen people. That like, I'm not saying like everybody's in the Illuminati, but us.
Do you think it's a situation where and the only thing that really comes to mind is like, let's say you're in a pot, right? And they're slowly turning up the heat, and so the water's starting to boil, and you're getting hot there. I mean, they're every intention of cooking you, but you don't realize you're in a pot. You think you're in a hot tub, and they're giving you, ho-hos and cookies and things like that, because they're being like, do you think it's a little bit of they're giving you bits and pieces of information to
just to
keep you focused on that, and not realizing that you're in
a slow cooker. Ooh, that goes back to my biggest fear of us being cattle, but I'm going to applaud you for bringing in a Bugs Bunny meme into this. Like, so,
yeah, that's what I was thinking
sir.
of when I was
brava, sir.
Like, why are there carrots in my hot tub?
Because they're good for your skin.
Oh, okay.
Well, he was like taking the ladle, and
yeah,
back and stuff. The other thing that I think about is what if they're so again taking a big stance here and saying that most of UFO sightings are ET life forms, let's just say, for discussion purpose. What if there's some date in the future, right, that they're gonna tell us all, like ETs are gonna come and land in Times Square, or a simultaneous landing around the Earth, and the beans are all gonna be spilled. They're giving the government an opportunity to save face, right, to come forward, so that people don't lose faith in their government, if they still have it anymore anyway. That would be the only other reason to voluntarily disseminate information, either on a trickle or a mass scale, that tells people, yes, we have this stuff and we have had it and it's all real, is that they're kind of being forced, their hand is being forced to do so.
I don't know. One thing one thing I think about is I think one of the biggest fears governments have is that if disclosure happens, it means countries are done because we have to act as a world. Especially if it's a threat, like Lou Elizondo tends to kind of talk about, especially if it's a threat. If it's a threat, countries are done.
One world government happened.
It has to happen. It has to happen.
Gets all the conspiracy people really going is the one world government. So,
right, and so that scares countries because they don't want to lose power, right? But everybody can't just send their own things out there. That's going to be a clusterfuck, man.
Well, I mean, you look at
back to the slow dissemination,
right? You look at Greer, right?
Slow controlled.
Greer's whole thing, right, is that this is a false flag, that there really is no threat, but the government's going to tell you there's a threat so that they can form the one world government and all this other crazy stuff that's supposedly going to happen. But that's Greer's whole shtick, right? Is that's what's happening, is that there's not a threat. They're really nice, extraterrestrial beings, and he wants to be their ambassador. But, you make a good point, Stefan, is that how do they control the response to ET life making themselves known to people of Earth, right? And the only way they can really do that is if they get everybody on board with, this is our plan for when that happens. Again, having some sort of an idea of it's coming type mentality. We've got to get most of the world up to speed, if you will, on what these things are and what they're what they're coming for, and then so that we have unified approach for when it happens. So like you said, we don't have 18 different nations across the earth sending various things. Maybe the U.S. sends a greeting, but China sends a warning, and then who speaks?
Well, and we always
for Earth,
Yeah, exactly. And we always think that disclosure is going to come from the United States, but what if it comes from Luxembourg?
Yeah.
What if it's a Luxembourg that comes out and says, "Hey, here's Twiggy the alien. We've been working with him since 1940 here in Luxembourg because that's where he landed."
Well, and the fact that really, when you think about it, the fact that every what I'll say first world nation, right? So every first world nation on the planet has come out and said, here's all of our stuff on UFOs, or like that letter that was recently written by the Canadian politician guy, basically disclosing that the U.S. is aware of, these programs that exist. But nobody will take the step to officially say, yep, we got them. So it really feels like either A, the U.S. has them by the proverbial testicles, or they are somehow, there's some big plan, some big orchestrated plan for how this is all going to unfold, that maybe came out of like the Brookings report or something like that after they got the news of America, people aren't ready. There was this big plan that was put in place to disseminate information through TV and movie, and then when we got to a certain point, we're going to say, yep, we know about, here's some UFO videos we know about, and then again, just kind of slow, the amount of planning though, and the magnitude of like, to have a plan like that and to not have somebody just out in left field just go on freaking Art Bell and talk about it just seems really hard to control. I don't know. Maybe I'm putting too much trust in somebody being able to put that together.
Well, I'm just having sort of all of these obvious epiphanies about like how much the structure, like how much it changes the structure of everything. Because think about it, like most people's work around here are factories. Factories produce specific parts and goods, right? Well, that's going to change once we have access to actual alien tech. Who's going to want like Earth-made shit anymore? Not, well, it depends,
Yeah.
Beetle Geysian head massager just might be the galaxy's best. But, and then are we going to start like, what deals are made so we can start helping produce the things that a spacefaring race would actually want?
Well, and the other thing that I'm worried about is the amount of, and I'm just going to come out and say it, the amount of hate that humans express towards other humans that are not like that are not like themselves. How does that fare in a spacefaring, culture?
I mean, watch Alien Nation, the movie and TV show.
Yeah.
With the mustard in the coffee.
But but like there was so much hate against the aliens that relocated to Earth. It was just a massive issue.
Look how we treat the refugees that were from the same
That's
planet.
what I'm saying. Yep. Look how we treat. That's kind of where like this whole started with, right? Is look how we treat everything else on our existing island of a planet. It's not like we can go anywhere else, or anybody else can go anywhere else. But look at how we treat everybody on our little island, our little pale blue dot, right? And then introduce some new species that people are going to fear or worship or whatever the case may be. That's just a whole nother dynamic that has to be accounted for. And I don't think that this slow dissemination of information accounts for that in any way, shape, or form. Unless it's a situation where you're just like rip the Band-Aid off and let people figure stuff out. But I mean, you look at what's that? There's a movie where like an alien ship comes and it hovers over like Africa, and they put all the aliens in like temporary camps. District 9.
Yeah,
District 9, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, District 9.
But like imagine that situation, right? Where they're refugees and they come to us and they ask us for aid. What would we do in those situations?
We would give them land that we think is unimportant, maybe like the desert. They'll find some mineral, and then like our own natives will just kindly ask them to move along because we want those things,
right?
And just put them somewhere else. I mean, it's not like we have a history of that kind of thing.
Kindly ask them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I think
I don't think humans suck ass. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're beating around the bushes. Like, are they the greatest? No, they're awful. No, we're pretty damn special. Like, well, to ourselves, we're pretty damn special.
Yeah.
Might be the blandest thing in the multiverse. Who really knows? But still, I mean, we create art, we create music. I can't wait to find out what other forms of life have done to creatively express themselves. Yeah. Like, what's that type of entertainment going to be like?
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to somebody the other day about, if humanity is ready, right? If humanity is ready to be a spacefaring civilization. And made me think of the first episode of Next Generation, where Picard goes on trial, right, for the sins of humanity, where he basically uses, that mentality, Santosh, of, we created art, we created all these things. And so, then you look at the Keanu Reeves remake of The Day the Earth Stood Still. One of the times Keanu was talking with the professor says it's only on the precipice that humanity changes, right? And so maybe that's what we need. Maybe we do need a rip the Band-Aid off situation in order for us to get out of our own way, grow past these things that are holding us back, and move forward.
That sounds lovely. Don't run aside foul of any Pharisees. You might be in some trouble, buddy.
So, anyways, those were the two things. I mean, so I guess it was three, right? We talked about the Earth and whether or not we're.
Josh, why haven't you brought up Space Jesus yet? Like you're all with like the.
We have talked about Space Jesus.
Did we?
Yeah, a couple of it. Like it's been several episodes ago. We can talk about it again. I don't care.
No, I don't want to.
Yeah.
Well,
next time on Astral Studio, we're going to talk about Space Jesus. And
Again.
Space Buddha.
The return of Space Jesus. That's what we need. Because I actually did hear that as a reference to in the Star Wars universe, right?
Mm-hmm.
See, I can bring it back to nerddom.
Bring it back around, wrapping it all up. So anyways, unless you all have anything else, I'm going to wrap it up.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Okay.
So thank you all for tuning in. Please make sure to check out Santosh's podcast if you have not already. and
Yes, please.
SantosDavid333.com or SantosDavid.com.
Mm-hmm. Or any of your podcast providers.
Podcast providers. For those that are wondering, the Convergence Enigma is coming back eventually. Stefan and I are still working through the particulars. Probably going to be a short season this year as we both kind of look at some life changes that are happening. And then we get a plan together and come back strong for season 6. We do questions about that.
I've got one more thing to add on because I wasn't. Thank you for helping me promote my stuff. I wasn't planning on it. And now I prefaced too much. No. Damn it. It was at the end. I thought I could wrap it up and ask again, and I totally lost the thought. So it's not gonna happen. Way to let us all down.
Space
I'm
Jesus.
on it. No,
Space Jesus.
Jesus. It was something at the very last that we that it's a full episode. That's what I was going to say. Like the 24th episode I just put out, which brings season 1 to the end, is an actual full psychic sleep yoga nidra. So if you want to know what the hell I've been doing Sunday nights, it in its majority is there. So
awesome
that's what I was going to say. You get a little view in on other projects. That's what I wanted to offer. Sorry for taking so fucking long.
Would you say that that's probably not a good thing to listen to first thing in the morning before you start your day? Or is it?
I think whenever you listen to it, it will be right. Maybe you need a nap.
Okay.
Maybe you need to go to sleep on it. Maybe you want to start your day. Like it's that versatile. So, but you're in an altered state of consciousness for a little while.
Yep. All right. So thank you all again for tuning in. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Please like this video and comment. We would love to hear what you all think about what we talked about here on this episode, or any episode that we have of Astral Stew. So thank you all again so much for tuning in. This has been Josh.
This has been Stefan. Oh, Steph Tosh.
Steph Tosh.
Is that like Tuvix? Was it Tuvix?
Tuvix, yeah. When Neelix and Tuvok got merged.
Oh yeah. Dragon Ball reference for fans.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Bye, guys.
I'll be better next time.